Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back with the Hit or Quit podcast here on RHAP. And we are continuing our legal coverage here in the month of May. We had a couple of weeks talking about jury duty. And so it's only appropriate that we stay in court to talk about one of the top legal minds on television. That would be Judge Steve Harvey, back for season number 2. Here back with us, let's swear her in. It's Jenny Autumn. Jenny, how are you?
I'm thrilled. I am fully in my court era.
Yes.
But it's
court.
only fun court though. Like I want silly court. This is my kind of court. So I am great.
Okay. Well, we are so excited to have here with us to talk about the first 2 weeks of Judge Steve Harvey. He covered what was going on the court on Winning Time. He's always let's see, what other court shows does he cover? Let's find out. He covers She-Hulk.
Oh,
another court show.
Yeah.
Okay. Here is the great Jason Reed. Jason, how are you? I guess a lot of these married at first sight couples end up in divorce court.
Yeah, they're all gonna go to court, to get divorced. So yeah, they end up there, at some point. So yeah, I'm an expert here to cover Judge Steve Harvey. I do love to use his whole name, Judge Steve Harvey, not to confuse with any other famous Steves you might give a judgeship to.
Mm-hmm.
I call him the Harv personally. I just like, I feel like like that's even in my notes. I just like, I write the Harv. That's just who he is to me.
Okay. Well, he is Mr. ABC. He's hosting a million shows over there. And like the writer's strike, Steve Harvey is going to eat because Steve Harvey is going to be just basically the host of every single show. And let me just say, I did not know we were coming in for, but Judge Steve Harvey, what a delight. I love Judge Steve Harvey. Whether or not this podcast goes on, this will have a permanent spot on my DVR.
It was a delight. I was laughing the whole time, and I'm still thinking about these cases. Like, I don't even know if anything was like, I have so many feelings about what we watched and the legitimacy of it, but it doesn't matter because
it doesn't matter.
It's
a feel-good show. Everybody is great on Judge Steve Harvey. Jason, had you seen Judge Steve Harvey before this?
I had not. And then when, I got asked to do this, to find out that this was in season 2.
I said,
wait,
didn't know about season 1.
This has been happening? Like, this has been going on? I had no idea.
Didn't know about this.
Where has the show been all my life?
It's on primetime television.
On primetime television. I'm ready to completely upend the legal system here. Like, people want criminal justice reform. I think we found it.
We need television hosts. Oh wait, maybe not always.
No,
but
Steve Harvey he's good. Like, what do you need to go to law school for? He knows this is the court of common sense, Jason.
I mean, is it Steve Harvey or was it the plaintiffs and defendants that were really drawing us? I feel like whoever got this pool from I don't want to call them contestants, but of people, I think we need to put them in every single reality show because they were bonkers crazy.
I guess if like there's Jenny in a real court case, if there's like some wild testimony, like the judge doesn't like roll around on his chair like back and forth, like
I don't think
spins around.
He doesn't pantomime the scenes of crimes. Just
in thin air for him too. Like this, like he's living his best life because he is bringing in all these wild characters and working out their drama with them, and it's a show for him, it's a show for us, it's everyone's bringing their A game, and also, I mean, you said contestants. It's like, oh, well, this isn't really a game show.
Did I say
it kind of is.
Yeah.
It kind of is. You might just walk away with money.
You get money. So
I mean, we have a live studio audience like claps and cheers and like and rah-rahs.
Yeah, they clap as he comes in. Like this isn't happening in real.
Yeah, and honestly,
his bench opens up and he walks out from the back room like a game show. I mean,
yeah,
how is it not a game show?
Yeah, I mean, there's more families feuding on this show than anything else he's doing.
There are prizes awarded from like just nothing from the show. Like we give you money for the show.
So I guess Steve Harvey has a budget of up to $10,000 that he can dole out. And really,
that wasn't
like, no skin off Steve Harvey's back.
Well, and that wasn't revealed until like a couple cases in, I feel, was it the first episode? And so at first in the like when it first came out that he was giving extra money that what didn't exist before, I was like, is he just giving his own personal money away?
Well, if
But
I'm someone in the
apparently
first,
10
if I'm
grand.
someone in the first couple cases that got $500 for no reason,
Yeah.
and then later I hear that they're able to give 10,000,
Like
like, wait, what
$8,000.
happened? Why did I
Yeah,
only get
does Steve
500?
Harvey get to keep the money he doesn't give away?
Yeah, maybe that's like his stipend, and he chooses whether he wants to give some of it away.
Steve Harvey, what he's getting per episode is probably like, he's probably getting
More
at
than
least
10
what, a
grand.
couple $100,000 per episode.
Yeah.
I mean, that 10
So,
grand is only going to buy
yeah,
one of his
that's
suits.
nothing.
So, I mean, yeah, that's really nothing for Steve.
Yeah. So anyway, for Steve Harvey, this is great. A tour de force for Steve Harvey. He's great. And then the people that are coming in, Jason, I'm also watching another court show this week. I'm also watching Hot Bench, the 5 spot. And not to spoil RHAP from this week, but boy, they got some real snoozers going on Hot Bench.
Yeah, these people were definitely
It's a tepid bench at best.
they were here for the performance. They were told to ham it up, and ham it up they did. And like we were talking in the pre-show, and I said that like one of the cases felt like they came right out of like a bad improv class. It was just like they were acting up so much. So yes, the people here are definitely one of the bigger parts of the show's success for me.
Imagine thinking like, I'm going to get my big break on Judge Steve Harvey, where I am elaborating and exaggerating a feud with a real life friend or family member. But this is my time to really like shine in the courtroom.
Yeah.
And show, like, this is how I'm going to make it.
It does seem as though like there are some professional wrestling vibes here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of this is real, but I guess we don't really care, right?
No,
I don't care. I don't care. I actually really don't. I was thinking about it because it's like, okay, so I believe that these people are real people. This is my theory. These are real people, and they have something they need to work out between, someone in their life. And it's like, okay, you're not truly going to take this person to real court, but would you love to work it out and mediate with Steve Harvey, where he might decide you get the money, but it's not actually court.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like that, especially in season 2. You're going to get some money, so you have to be like. I kind of feel that almost everybody was on like pretty good terms with, including like a actively dating couple. So like I think you have to be on good terms to like, hey, like why don't we just go to Steve Harvey? Like, okay, sure, let's do that. Maybe we'll get money. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Steve is a good vibes judge, and this is a good vibe show because everybody was still friends. Most people hugged afterwards. It was just like, we're still
feel good
right?
show.
He ordered someone to unblock the other person.
Yes.
He's like, he just wants everyone to get along at the end. He wants everyone to be happy. It's like if you went to like couples therapy or whatever, and it's like, but it was theater.
Yes. Yes.
And your therapist was Steve Harvey because
couples therapy,
like
but a podcast, right? A live show.
Really about repairing relationships more than like the justice of like who gets the funds.
Yeah. Okay. Let me play the intro. I wanted to cue this up. Okay, just for people at home, just to get a sense of. Okay, Steve Harvey is going to. You could hear in his own words. What is this show?
There's a big world out there, and it's filled with people that just don't see eye to eye. See, that's why I come in. See, I ain't got a law degree, and I'm way too fly to wear a robe. This is where common sense presides, in my house. Court is now in session.
Okay, where common sense presides, Judge Steve Harvey.
Is it his house? Is this like a wing of his house?
Yes, I think so.
I mean, well, listen, these is common sense, presides. That's totally the truth. When you hear the details of this court case, you're like, okay, so what are we really arguing here? Like this, you have no real leg to stand on in this case.
That's one of my favorite parts of this show is when he's just like he roasts everyone. And like, yes, we got that with like Judge Judy, but like imagine if every single person that came into like Judge Judy was like giving the most stuff you could roast ever. Because like sometimes there's flops. Every single person coming in is giving the Harv something to roast,
Yeah.
and he's ready for them. Like, it's so good.
Steve Harvey, is he in the 100% approval rating bracket? Should he be?
Ooh.
Are there any Steve Harvey detractors out there?
Well, I mean, there was that like thing with him
the Miss
a while
America?
ago.
Nothing.
Well,
That's
not
nothing.
that, but it was a thing where it was like a memo he sent out to his like I think it was on his daytime talk show. It was like, "Don't talk to me, don't look at me. If you pass me in the hall, keep walking. I don't want to hear what you
put,
have
like,
to
an
say."
think that's
Ellen?
every person with a daytime talk show host. Like that,
Yeah.
they're all.
Yeah,
They're
that's actually kind of what I've heard about a lot of daytime talk shows.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we can keep
Very
going
nice,
on
though.
about
So, I don't
Steve
know.
Harvey,
But
but
there's got to be someone that doesn't
probably
approve,
somebody
yeah.
out there. I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
hear in the comments. Anyway, but let's talk about all of the cases here in season 2 of Judge Steve Harvey. And of course, they know what they're doing here. They're going to start with a banger to kick off season 2 of Judge Steve Harvey. And it's the battle of Derek Smith versus Linda Hines. And allegedly, Derek gave her $10,000 that he said was a loan. Linda does not retort that she got the $10,000 from Derek, but she says that as they were in a romantic relationship, seemingly at one time, that was a gift and not a loan to buy a car.
I feel like that's like a lot of cases in these things. It's like it was not a loan, it was a gift. I do want to just step back real quick and say another part of the show that I love is that every case has like a title. And this one was Sugar Daddy Turned Sour. Like, this is my introduction to the show. It's like, like the graphics pop out and you have them like each on their side. It's like a boxing match. And then in like the middle, you've got like the case title, Sugar Daddy Turned Sour. I'm like, oh, I am so ready for this. Like, I am ready.
Yeah.
Well, and give me the Derek and Linda couple reality show spinoff immediately. I watch it day one.
Yeah, this was pretty wild when we heard this story about Derek, who was out driving around with his friend, and then he saw Linda, who we later find out is a grandma. I believe she is 63 years young. Steve Harvey even comments how good she looks. But she was walking on the street one day. This might have been a couple of years ago, so she might have only been 59 then. And as she was walking around, Derek was teaching his friend how to pick up women.
I thought it was the other way around.
Okay. Or maybe it's the other way around.
No. He was teaching.
Yeah,
he was teaching his young friend how to pick up chicks, and he literally he says he pulled her
see
over.
That grandma over there?
I'm gonna get her.
Like he flagged her down. It was like, look, check this out.
She looked so good. He
out.
had to get her number.
Check out my
friend
Riz.
Was like, what?
Check out the Riz.
Check out the Riz on this 63-year-old grandma.
And so that he pulled over and he got her number, and then ultimately that they went out for their first date. Was this for pizza and wings?
Pizza and wings.
Pizza and wings. He had to make a reservation for the pizza and wings. I'm sure when he called Pizza Hut, they were like, "Sir, we don't take reservations. You just come in and sit down."
They had a lot of wings and pizza, and then by the second date, he met the grandkids, and they started coming along on a date. This was one of the wildest things I've ever seen on a show. Where, all right, Steve is like, okay, let me just get the ages here. Okay, so you Linda, you're how old are you? Is it 63? Okay, you look great. Derek, how old are you? And he says 49. And
I'm like,
Steve
that's
Harvey,
a huge difference.
Honestly, I was like, okay, he looks like a good 40. I think this was the point. I say he looks like an okay 49. No problem.
Okay, 49.
Sure.
Steve Harvey said no. You're not 49.
Steve Harvey
and they
has
went
the
to
eye.
commercial like it was a cliffhanger. I was like, what is happening here?
Yeah. And he lied. He's 39. I mean, what is he, like a teenage Survivor contestant?
But
what
like,
was the point here?
Why are you lying about being like, is he that insecure about being like younger than her that he needed to throw 10 years onto his like
I don't know.
I think it was
like illegal. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think it was he looks okay for 49. For
oh,
39, it's like looks like you've been living kind of a tough life there, Derek.
Yeah.
like I'm pretty close to 39, so maybe like I don't know. I didn't think about it that way. I was like, should I be excited about also being 49? I don't
I mean,
know.
it's about saying, "Hey, I'm 49. Oh, you look really good for your age," or I'm
Oh,
39.
he just
Like,
want.
oh.
Oh,
What
so do
happens?
you think he said that because he saw the Harv say to Linda, like, you look good for 63? And he's like, oh, crap. I don't look good for 39. I got to say 49.
Well, Steve, I felt like was doing some body shaming here of Derek. Also,
He
he's
body
like,
shamed
like
several times.
like you love, yeah, I could tell you love pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Like she rubs your belly. You like that, like.
But this is this relationship is wild because they're telling, like, Derek is telling the story about like their relationship, like, and he's like, yeah, and she got into the car and she's kissing on my neck and she's rubbing my belly, and like he's also like constantly talking about how this woman is rubbing his belly, which I was
She
like,
was a cougar.
is
What's
this
the
a thing
cutoff
that
for
people do
cougars?
like romantically?
Yeah.
Is like rub each other's stomachs? I'm
Yeah.
like, what is going on here?
If I'm 60 and I date a woman who's 80, is she a cougar, Jason?
I think as long as there's a big enough age gap between you, I think it's
Yeah.
fine. I don't think the age number really matters as long as she's
Yeah.
substantially older. I think that's
Jenny,
what
let's just
will
keep
get you the
tabs
cougar
on some of
tag.
these MILF Manor couples as the
They're-
years go by.
I thought that they graduated to like
This is
different
Gilf
cats.
Manor. Yeah.
Like, like I thought that like cougar was like in like a certain age bracket, and then like you graduate from cougar to like a different. I don't know.
Jaguar.
I think it's like
Puma's in
Puma
there
or
somewhere.
something.
I
Puma.
think Puma's like a younger cougar, isn't it?
Oh, maybe.
Like
I don't
I might
know.
even be a Puma.
But Derek's story had so much suspense in it because he's telling about the second he's like, yeah, she's kissing me, she's rubbing my belly. Then all of a sudden, the back door opens.
Whoa.
I forgot they were in a car. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
What's happening?
They're like, what's happening? He's like, oh, yeah, and the grandkids slide into the back seat. I was like, oh, what?
Yeah. So they're all
He's
coming
telling
out.
the grandkids this is the Uber driver.
Yeah.
They're like, he's just taking us out for dinner.
Well, so things took a turn where it seems like that Derek lost his job and then he wanted to move in with Linda. And she basically was like, I'm not about that. And no,
Listen,
I
I'm
already
not
got my
about that life,
grandkids
baby.
living with me. I don't need you living here also.
I don't need another child. That's what Miss Linda said.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Yeah.
like, I guess I understand this because, well, again, there's like so much like question about what their relationship was because she referred to him as her playmate
Yeah.
because he called her his girlfriend at one point. And then she, the whole time through this case, is asserting that Derek was her playmate, which,
Friend with benefits.
like, she's just like, she's hit or quit, you know what I mean? Like, she's like right there. So there's already like a little bit of confusion about their relationship. So I don't think it's a good idea to just let someone start living with you if the relationship is not at that stage yet. And it's just like, well,
Jenny, this isn't
I'm
what
on
happened with you and
part-time.
Phil, right?
No.
Okay. You're not
Yeah, he's
speaking from
just a play
experience.
thing.
Yes.
Just a little something.
I just let him into my house and he didn't leave.
just kept buying you groceries, taking you for pizza and wings, and you just couldn't say no.
We ate a lot of pizza.
So then
rubbing
he
on
like,
each other's
but then
bellies.
like he disappeared for a while, and it turned out that he was in upstate New York at Ranger School.
I forgot this.
I have to. What kind of ranger was she talking about? Because at first I was like, an army
Not the
ranger?
New York Rangers. I don't
She's
think.
like,
I was like, this Rangers camp in Albany? Like,
yeah, it's like, is it an army ranger? And then he's talking about hunting cougars with a snowmobile, and I was like,
I think
Is
a
it talking about
park ranger.
it's like a park
Yeah.
ranger. Yeah. Like,
it's
but
like,
I
okay.
didn't realize
Yeah.
there was a specific ranger school.
Here,
I thought that was just a job people.
Here, I could play a clip. This is on the ABC website. Judge Steve Harvey finds out about plaintiff's new job. Hold on, let me see if I can play this and if it's gonna make a commercial play. Let's see, abc.com. If they're gonna give us the goods or not, or
Please.
nothing. Okay. And let's see. All right, of course. Should have had this queued up before I announced it. But anyway, Steve Harvey has a big reaction to him being a ranger.
I mean, I didn't know this was a thing, and he's like, "You're catching cougars on a snowmobile."
I was like, what? Where are they? Where is he? Where is he based out of? What park is he going to? Like, I didn't know what was happening at that point.
Yeah, well, you were trying to catch cougars, but the cougar caught him.
Yeah, that's the true lesson
slapper.
here.
That was a Steve classic right there.
Yeah. So ultimately, that he comes back one day as if they hadn't really been together, and he just like comes in with like $10,000 and just like what's like,
is this a drug deal? What's happening?
Hell, like, yeah. What, Jason, did she ask him for $10,000?
It's never made really clear whether she asked him or not, or he just came in with this sack of money and dropped it at the table. Was like, all right.
She needed a new car. I think he mentioned that. She said something about needing a new car. It wasn't clear if she asked him to help her with said new car, but that was what it was claimed, is she needed a new car. And so he shows up at her house with groceries and $10K cash.
And just drops it on the table and leaves, apparently.
Like, what slick move.
I guess she didn't explicitly ask for the loan. She just kept saying she needs a new car. He just decided to gift her $10,000 out of the blue.
Is that the move? You just like keep mentioning the
Apparently not. Oh yeah. You know, that's basically, I mean, she's a grandma, but I do think that a lot of other young people like just like, oh, here's my wish list. Here's my, you know.
Oh, I could
like,
really use a new car.
But I mean, I think the move is to give the money and stick around for your reward, not just like dip out and after you give.
I didn't even get a belly rub.
Yeah, not one belly rub or neck kiss.
Here, I have the clip finally of Steve. Steve Harvey. I don't want to tease people. Steve Harvey finds out about the ranger job.
Was this after you asked her, could you move in with her, and she said no?
This was after.
And are you all together at this point?
No.
I didn't see him for a long time. Months went by. I talked to him in spurts. I had called him. He told me he was upstate New York at Albany at Ranger School.
At where?
Ranger School, somewhere in Albany.
Wait a minute, hold up.
Harv is also like, what?
You told her you was in Albany at Ranger School.
Yes.
Ranger School. Do you have any idea what's required to be a ranger?
He gonna catch criminals and cougars on a ski mobile in the snow.
Wait a minute. Wait.
She loved that.
She was ready. She was ready.
Her laugh.
One of Steve's greatest powers is the power of his reaction and how dumbfounded he is by things and his quips after he finds out about these things.
But people are like giving it to like
they love it.
Every someone comes in with something where he's like, what?
Yes. And Steve is never gonna like be like, order in this court, order, order. Stop laughing.
He's trying to get the laughs. That's what he wants.
If anything, he's hitting the gavel to try to rile the crowd up and laugh with him. Like, that's what it's about. He does not want order in this court. He wants disorder.
Okay. Ultimately, Steve, he has a soft spot for these two, but he decides that he's not going to make Linda pay any money. He says that you were trying to catch the cougar caught you. You got caught up. That was a gift. She didn't ask for the money. There's no contract. No, she doesn't have to pay you any money.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's.
I mean, obviously, enough. Right? Like, I feel like this in a real court, this would have taken like 2 minutes. Like, oh, there's no contract. There's
you didn't write a contract
agreement. Okay, get the hell out of my face.
Yeah. But in real court, they're not also going to pull out their own pocketbook and be like, but on the other hand.
Yeah. Steve is going to he's going to give Derek $5,000 for being a good guy.
It's jury duty all over again.
Yeah. These people he passed the test.
Derek is such a hero.
I want to go to court. If you can go to court and get money for just being nice, sign me up. I want to get money.
I've been trying to sign up for jury duty ever since I watched Jury Duty. So I mean, just hoping I stumble upon like a reality show.
Yeah. Jenny, did you see that also? I mean, people are just sending in the hit or quit suggestions. I feel like that this writer's strike is the best thing that ever
Oh my
happened to this
gosh.
podcast.
I
Between
can't believe
Stars on Mars, we had news of the renewal of Special Forces: World Toughest Test. Farmer
Wild.
Wants a
Farmer
Wife.
Wants a Wife season 2.
With
Like,
it, boy, these shows, and then a new Joe Schmo show got
I
announced
did not
today.
see that coming either. I was like, this, I can't keep track of. It's literally like the
We
strike
might have to
happened
go
and
daily, Jenny.
yeah, like, I'm gonna have to
This
clear my
writer's strike
schedule.
is going to be the death of me.
I feel like more of these shows are gonna get pitched like a Judge Steve Harvey. It feels like there's two wheels, right? Rob, you're familiar with wheels,
Yeah.
obviously. They spin the wheels and they take darts and they throw one at each wheel.
No
Oh,
darts.
No darts.
Careful
Sorry.
with the darts.
PTSD from the darts. One wheel has just a list of occupations. One wheel has a celebrity on it. I feel like we're gonna get like mechanic Martha Stewart at some point in this writer strike.
Hmm.
Season.
And I can't wait. I want to see Martha working on a car.
Okay.
Why not?
Better
Let's talk
than
about
Snoop Dogg.
They're always together. Let's talk about the case of Gatelyn and Chandler. They are an actively
Wait,
dating.
who?
Caitlin.
What was it? Caitlyn?
No,
They
her
they
name's
went to
Cassidy.
Gatlinburg.
They
They went to Gatlinburg. That's where
Also,
you're
what's-
Gatlinburg.
I've never
I'm
heard of
sorry.
Gatlinburg. Is that
Fun fact: the couples on Married at First Sight recently just went to Gatlinburg. It's in
what is
Tennessee.
Gatlinburg? I've never heard of this place.
It's like the Smoky Mountains up in Tennessee.
Okay, so it's in the United States.
Yes.
Okay. I was like,
Okay.
is this like a country I've never heard of?
Gatlinburg. Okay. Cassidy and Chandler, they went to Gatlinburg.
Yeah.
Okay.
For their 3-year
and-
Dating anniversary.
Yes, 3-year dating anniversary. And Jenny, there's some weirdness over that. Cassidy paid, and then that she thought they were gonna split it.
So I guess this is the story that was told, is that they, and they're a young couple, like, they're probably like in their early 20s, I think.
Yeah.
And so they, decided that they were going to go on this trip. They were going to split the costs. That was the plan. Now, when they arrived at the hotel, I guess Chandler was the one with the credit card. So Chandler was like, I'll check in with the credit card and you just pay me for your half after. And his credit card got declined. So I guess Cassidy's just rolling with a ton of cash for some reason. And so Cassidy, literally. And so she's like, it's okay, don't worry about it. I'll pay for the hotel with my cash. And then for the rest of the trip, she paid for everything with her cash and Chandler paid for nothing. But apparently the original agreement was 50-50. And that is where the dispute was, that apparently Chandler thinks that she was like, I'm balling right now. I will cover the trip.
Speaking of 50-50, we also found out that both of them dropped 50 pounds on the keto diet also at some point in this adventure.
This was so wild. Like, some of these quotes out of context were like they were talking about their relationship, and then like out of nowhere, Cassie just goes, "We even went on the keto diet together."
And then they took that tangent and they went like so far with it to show before and after photos. And Steve drops one of his classic roasts. He's like, Chandler, based on this before picture, you're lucky she's with you.
Steve Harvey's just fat shaming, like left, right, and center. He's just like, yeah, it's a good thing when they both lost weight together, and he's like, well, you're really lucky she's still with you, that she was with you then. Like, oh my God, Steve, you're such a savage. Jesus.
Yeah, I was like, is this product placement for the keto diet?
It was so weird. I thought it was like such a weird, like, we went on the keto diet together.
Not as much product placement as Grey's Anatomy will be later on in the episode.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
God.
Anyway, so then Chandler, Jason says like, I'm just not going to pay her back.
Yeah, so I never agreed to split this 50-50. She was balling out of control. She said she was gonna pay for everything, so that's just what it is. And then they really just tear his credibility up into pieces. Oh, here was the text that said that you were going to pay her back. So what do you have to say about that now?
Yeah.
I love on this show like the fake the remakes of the texts.
Yeah.
And then it's like
they're
this was
giant.
on, and then like they're like, it was made to look kind of like a Snapchat text, but it was still like not a legitimate screenshot of a Snapchat. And then like they had to clarify, like, yeah, and like we had to have this message on Snapchat because he blocked her. These two are actively
They're
dating.
dating.
Actively dating. They're still dating, which
They
shocked
were
me.
not broken up.
Yeah.
They were still together.
So Jason, Steve really did not like that Chandler told Cassidy I'm not sure if this was over text or in a conversation. He sits there, I'm done talking about this. Steve Harvey had some sage advice for Chandler.
Yeah, if you can if Steve can get you to talk about like your relationship, and because Steve is so experienced in marriage and relationships, you're like, oh, you don't do that. Like I've watched a lot of Family Feud with Steve Harvey, and Steve Harvey has a lot of advice for married couples and what you do and don't do and say to your wife.
Yes.
It's not like terrible advice. So,
Steve
like,
Harvey
No,
is
it's not.
on looks like marriage number 3.
Yes, exactly.
So
Yes.
he's experienced.
He's
He
experienced.
doesn't have a very limited, because if anything, I should maybe take the advice of the person that has gotten married a couple times, because it's like now you have marriage experience with different people. So it's like the more variables, like the more data you're getting, and you can find the common trends.
For those that don't know, I cover Married at First Sight here on Robin's podcast, and those experts that are on the show are both on multiple marriages. And we say on the show all the time, like that's how you get the most experience. You have divorce. You know what failed.
You know what works. And I will say, it looks like that Steve is on his longest marriage. He mentioned Marjorie. So good for Steve. Going strong.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah. And so he's doing it. All right. So then there was a surprise witness in this case, Jenny.
I didn't know there was gonna be witnesses.
There's witnesses.
This was such a twist for me.
Big twist. Twin twist.
We got a freaking twin twist on this. I was like, Chandler's twin brother Chase walks in, and then we get the Cassie going, actually, he's my witness.
Oh,
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Like that was the commercial break too. It was like, my God, scandal.
There were some good cliffhangers.
Yeah, that's a different ABC show. But then it turns out that Chandler is the evil twin, I think, Jason.
Oh yeah, Chase comes in and he just tears Chandler a new one. He's like, yeah, Chandler does this all the time. Chandler used to steal my allowance all the time. I used to have, we used to get our allowance at the same time. I at one point at 80, and Chandler had 500 because he kept stealing my money. So basically, Chase comes on. He's like, I just want my brother Chandler to be honorable and to be a good man, and I know he can do it. But right now, he's a scumbag. Basically, is what he was saying.
Yeah.
This is why these like situations are just like anyone that's having like a little bit of like a family like disagreement or dispute. It's like, let's just work this out with the Harv, right? Like this guy's like, yeah, my brother's kind of taking everyone like for granted and taking advantage of him, and I just want him to learn a lesson here on national TV.
Was there any sort of implication that Cassidy was going to switch brothers?
I mean, from the way that Chase talked about Cassidy to the court, you could have thought that there was definitely something going on, because Chase says, listen, Cassidy is kind, he's giving, and she brightens the mood of any room that she walks in.
Yeah,
I was definitely looking at Chase as a side eye after he said that to the court.
I'm interested to, did he go on the keto diet also?
Right, because they're twins. Like, did they lose and gain weight at the same time? Because they look exactly the same now.
That's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, okay, well, like, I mean, maybe they all did it together, or maybe Chase was always that size. Like, I don't know. Like,
maybe Chandler got with Cassidy and they got the new relationship like 20 pounds that you put on or something. Like they were so happy together that you just ate it up, and they were like, oh, Chase is looking at him like, bro, you put on a few pounds. So Chandler and Cassidy were on the keto diet. Maybe that.
Yeah, and imagine like, being Chandler. It's like, okay, well, now I feel like I have to go on the keto diet because there's literally me 50 pounds lighter right here. My twin brother. She's looking constantly at like what I might look like.
I mean, pressure.
Listen, folks, if you haven't watched the show, and we're talking about these mid 20-year-olds, Chase and Chandler, they are exactly who you are picturing. Like, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
mop
twin
top,
brothers
hair.
named Chase and Chandler. Yeah. They are exactly who you're picturing.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about this third case from the first episode. This was Artie versus Vinny. Do I have those names right?
Yes.
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 Okay. And this
This was an
was,
incredible case.
I love this story. I knew this was meant to be, as Artie and Vinny, they are best friends, and they are big fans of the same football team as me, the New York Jets. And so Artie runs a survivor pool, not like what Randy Newpool does, okay? But this is, you
Stay
have
in
to
your
pick
lane.
pick a team that's not going to lose every single week. And Jason, this wasn't a very high stakes pool. I think that there's like 30 people in this pool.
Yeah, it was like what was it? Was it 60 people at $30
Akiva
a pop?
scoffed at the size of this pool.
Yeah,
He's a
it
pool
was
shamer.
Yeah, it was 60 people at $30 a pop. So the take home was 1,800, and that's what was being sued for in this case.
$1,800. And so the case for Vinny is that he did not in, I believe it was week 8 of the 2021 season, Halloween weekend. Maybe Vinny was busy getting his Halloween plans ready.
Artie was the one that didn't. Vinny is
I'm sorry.
Artie
Vinny's
put his
the
pick in late.
organizer.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So Artie, that he did not get his pick in time. He wanted to pick the Kansas City Chiefs, but I guess that there's a cutoff. Jason, did you catch when the cutoff was?
The cutoff was Friday night, and
Friday
Akiva says
midnight.
that's very early to have the cutoff.
I suppose, but I mean, you have mostly. I mean, but why isn't it Thursday? Because the first game of the week is usually Thursdays.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah. So I don't know why it was. Yeah, I don't know why it was Friday night.
Akiva says it should be the start of the 1 p. Like you want to have it on noon on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not the first game.
Well, think about it with like a regular fantasy league. You're setting, you want to set your lineup. If anyone's playing in the Thursday night game, you got to make sure they're in or out if you want them. Like, so if anything, like, Vinny, what are you doing? Because is no one ever picking one of the games where the Thursday night like game would be, or like, because
those
the
games
point of
get
the
pretty
pool,
wacky.
the point of the pool is you pick just a team that is going to win their game, and you can't pick the same team again in the season. So you got to like decide who you're saving or whatever.
Anyway, so the most popular team that weekend happened to be the Cincinnati Bengals, who with Joe Burrow back at the helm looked like that they were off to a hot start, and in a year they would ultimately go to the Super Bowl, playing against the 1-win New York Jets, who had just lost Zach Wilson the week before and starting a guy that nobody ever heard of called Mike effing White. But Artie, he's a Jets fan. He would never bet against his own team.
Vinny should know they are best friends. You should know that Artie would never bet against the Jets, so he has total, culpability here.
Yeah, and the rule of this, which Akiva said was also very generous, this rule to even let him have an entry on a late entry. You get whoever the most popular pick is.
Consensus pick of the week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
Whoever the most people pick.
The Bengals. And then yada, yada, yada. Big upset coming on Halloween. And then Artie is informed by Vinny that he is out of the pool, but Artie does not accept.
Artie just totally ignores that and is like, I'm still going strong in this competition. I'm just going to ignore that my friend, who is the organizer of this, told me that I am not in it anymore.
Yeah.
Now, Rob, do you recall this game that what they're talking about?
Yeah, of course. Very.
Yeah, I mean,
vividly.
it was a famous game for the Jets.
Yes. This was a huge game. It was on Halloween day. I was going nuts. That this was really very, very exciting. That a lot of New York Jets fans, this was the first time we convinced ourselves that Mike White was the savior of the team. And it was very, very exciting. Now, Vinny and Artie were excited too. They talked about it as Jets fans, but they didn't have a clear understanding about the pool. Now, there's one point, Jason, I thought that Vinny was really pushing his luck here, because they talked about how that they're both fans of the Jets, but Vinny called out Steve Harvey for his fandom of the Cleveland Browns.
Why are you trying to?
And how they're a loser team, and he's worried that Steve, as a fellow supporter of a loser team, is going to side with Artie.
why are you trying to piss off the judge? It only goes by vibes and not actual law by pointing out that, oh, you root for a loser team too. Meanwhile, they both are rooting for the same team.
Yeah,
the
they
Jets,
both
that are
are
loser
the
teams.
team.
Yeah,
Made
that
no
didn't make
sense.
sense to me. It's like, well, he is a big fan of, it's a loser team, and you also, it's like the same team that you root for.
They're
He's
You
roasting the
are
judge.
also the loser
loser.
team.
Yeah. So it turns out then that Artie, he didn't end up getting, even though he picked all the games right the rest of the year, Vinny didn't want to give him the $1,800. And Artie is a gym teacher, Jenny. And he's like, well, if I would have won that prize money, there were some underprivileged kids and I was going to take them golfing.
Yeah, so golfing is like he says golfing is an incredible sport because you can do it if you're 80, you can do it if you're 80. It's like, it's for everyone. And he's like, it's expensive. So I wanted to take the kids that he teaches like golf, which I'm like, why can't the school pay for it? But I don't know. I mean, it doesn't pay for anything is what I'm learning. But, and so I'm so curious about the first season of Judge Steve Harvey, where like, did people start to pick up on like, if you have a really good story, like he had to have been doing this last season. So it's like, Artie knew. He was like, what were you going to do with that $1,800? Oh, I was going to take the kids golfing. Like, Steve Harvey's gonna love that, won't he? Like, Artie knew what he was doing.
Yeah, I didn't buy that story whatsoever.
Yeah, this is a Fugazi story, I think.
Artie says that he told the day after the Jets won, he told his kids they were going to go golfing. I call
Broke
BS.
their heart.
That was week 8. That was the middle of the season. You had no idea that you were going to win that money at that point. So I don't
on
know.
Halloween, right?
I don't know why.
It's like getting very cold.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so Steve Harvey, he ultimately decides not to give anything to either of these guys in terms of the case. However, Steve Harvey gives him $5,000 to take the kids golf. $5,000.
You'd better.
We thought 1,800 was
Where are they going? Pebble Beach?
You better keep close track where that money is going. I need receipts to show that you bought golf equipment and that you bought you sent your kids there. I need to know what you're spending that money on, Artie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the things that I feel like I'm not able to properly articulate is how incredible these two guys were and how entertaining, especially Artie. Artie is a legitimate character, brought so much energy to this case. And then at one point in the middle of the case, Vinny sells this guy out and he's like, Artie is he's a hot mess. He was late to tape this show because he missed his flight, went to the wrong airport. He's painting this picture of this guy is not responsible. I'm not gonna let him win $1,800 for the pool. He was late on his pick, and that wasn't his pick. He's selling this guy's irresponsible man. And now Steve Harvey's here's $5,000.
Take the kids golfing.
Figure it out.
Vinny was taking this way too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And let's not forget the breakout of everybody plays the fool in the middle of the case where everyone's singing,
which is the theme song for the show, right? Have you seen the commercials for it?
Wait, they have that in the commercials?
Is that the theme song for the
Steve
commercial?
Harvey is back. Everybody plays the fool sometimes, and the judge is back in session.
No,
yeah,
it was so bizarre. I was like. Yeah, it was and Steve kept going. He was like, I'm not at my favorite part yet. I gotta keep going.
I mean, the whole courtroom was clapping and stomping. Everyone was singing along. It's we just broke out into an impromptu concert around here.
Yeah. This is how I felt last week at the live show when all of a sudden we were doing impressions. I was like, what's happening here?
Yeah. Where's Jigglypuff?
Yeah. I was like, okay, we're doing this, I guess. Clap.
Yeah. So here, let me see. This is a promo. Let me see if this is the one, and we're not going to get copyright strike from YouTube.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the unofficial theme song. Yeah.
So we'll keep this. That went well.
I did Artie's we Greeks, we're always late. And Steve's who are you telling? Basically pointing us out I'm black, I know. CPT time. I was like, Come on.
And then didn't Vinny say, but the Italians force the rules?
Yeah, and he goes, also, who you telling?
Yes.
Like, because we do the same thing. I was
Don't
like, okay,
challenge
Steve.
Steve Harvey. He's
Yeah,
like,
all right, Steve.
Right. Let's get to the second night of Judge Steve Harvey, because this was maybe the wildest case that we saw throughout all of Judge Steve Harvey.
which
This
is saying a lot after what we
yeah.
just discussed. Like,
This is a lot. This is a lot. This is a court battle between, is this Deanna and Marlo cousins?
Yes.
Okay. And then was it Deanna whose mother passed away? Or was it Marlo?
yes,
Deanna's
Deanna's mother.
Deanna's mother passed away.
And Marlo was holding the ashes hostage.
And yes, yes. Well, let me get to how we get there.
Nope, that's it.
Deanna needed a loan to have the mom cremated, and as Steve pointed out in great detail, that you have to pay all of the money for a cremation. You cannot do an installment plan on a cremation.
They can't take it back halfway
They will
through.
not. They will not cremate the body one piece at a time. It's basically an all or nothing shot on the cremation. She borrowed money from Marlo, and then Marlo was waiting to get the money back from Deanna, and she had been waiting. And as she was waiting longer and longer, she held on to Deanna's mother, her aunt's ashes, and would not give them back to her cousin until she was paid.
That's the
listen,
product, I guess. Like, and then in Marlo's mind was like, I spent money on cremation, and until you have paid the money for the cremation, this is mine, which is like so twisted, but it's her family too. Like, that's her aunt, so
She has a right. All the characters we've seen and talked about throughout these 2 episodes. Forget your Derricks, forget your Arties. Marlo is the true star.
Marlo is wild. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really feel like that Deanna
so good.
was actually very like demure. Like
she was crying at points.
She was like very serious. And then Marlo's like, hey, like my aunt, she loves shopping. I took her in the store. I buckled her seatbelt. You show pictures of like the bag of ashes in the car with the seatbelt on.
We went to Sam's Club.
Sam's Club.
Marlo
Did
had
Jason have all the stores to go to the last shopping trip ever? Sam's Club?
I just paid for you to be cremated. I need to save some money and buy in bulk. So we're going to Sam's Club. And
I don't know if I'm getting
not
this
even
money back.
Costco, Jason. Sam's Club.
No, gotta be Sam's Club. And
Maybe
Marlo
they
had
don't have a Costco.
the Johnny Cochran-esque like rhyme. She goes, even though my aunt is dead, I need my bread. She came,
Which was the title of this episode.
she came prepared to wow the crowd.
No,
She
she like that, and that's why I'm saying, like, these people I know are already like natural characters, but they come to entertain. Like, they are ready. They're like, I'm not like, this isn't a boring case. Like, I am going to, in the most entertaining way possible, like, let you know that I am keeping my aunt's ashes hostage because I need to get paid.
There's casting for this show, right? You have to come in
Yes.
and like and
Yeah.
dazzle to get in front of Judge Steve
They
Harvey.
should win an Emmy for the casting
Yeah.
for Judge Steve Harvey.
It is art. Yeah, they did a great job.
We love it so much. Great job there. And then ultimately then but this got ugly, that they were that it was a hostage situation for sure.
Aunt Mildred
it
is
was
collateral.
It wasn't a hostage
Collateral.
situation. It was collateral, Rob.
Aunt
Mildred's
Mildred
collateral.
is collateral.
Yeah. No, and then we ultimately had where Marlo ended up blocking Deanna and wasn't taking her messages. Which, if you need the money, right? Like, are you be the blocker?
Well, listen, she had to block so she couldn't get her money so they can go on Steve Harvey. If Marlo gets her money back, they're not going on Steve Harvey anymore. So
That's
I got to
true.
make sure Deanna's not paying me my money back.
That's true. Okay. All right. So Steve gives his decision here. Now, we got to like some creative accounting here. Okay. So it was $1,585 for the cremation. Okay. So Steve is awarding the money out of Steve's pocket, not for Deanna to pay. So Marlo gets $1,585. Then Steve gave Deanna $8,000 for
'Cause she's
being
a
a teacher.
Mhm.
This
Teacher
is
down
where
on her
he
luck.
explains it's 10,000 that he has in his budget. So
Yes.
then this is how he starts working through the math.
Okay. I'm sorry. So then there was, I'm sorry, that was $8,000 left. So he gives $7,000 to Deanna, and then he was going to give the rest of the money then back to Marlo, because Jason, this was like a roast of Steve's Aunt Agnes, who I was just like watching the show, like, that's my nephew. I'm sure she wasn't expecting this blindside.
Yeah, Steve said Aunt Agnes used to call me stupid because I stuttered, and now she's not getting any money in my will, and this is how she's finding out on this TV show.
It's like
I'm not sure how
Succession.
he connected that to giving Marlo more money.
He said, "You remind
she
me of my
reminds,
aunt."
yeah,
yes,
he says,
yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna give you
Yeah.
$1,415
Jenny,
because you
this
remind
wasn't
me
good for Marlo. You remind me of my aunt that I hate.
that
Yeah.
calls me stupid because
Yes.
I had a speech impediment as a child.
Mhm.
He literally said, like, you're a savage, but also I recognize this.
Yes,
It's familiar.
and he says, I'm not giving her a nickel in my will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll give you a stranger
Yeah.
that reminds me
Although,
of her.
In fairness, Steve has a lot of
$1,400.
ex-wives. Yeah, that's
Steve's
got
got
a lot of mouths to feed.
a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah, I don't know how often like the ants get into the will, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like
Mhm.
probably not, right? Like not very
Mhm.
often. I
I
don't
think it's
know.
rare.
I think it
it's
just
rare.
depends on how, like, what your family is like, how close you all
Mhm,
are.
But
But
you know,
like,
Steve's aunt is like some 80-year-old woman somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just like, what the hell? And she's really gonna call him stupid now. There's nothing to lose. Like,
She's gonna kill him because there's no point anyway. She's not giving him the will.
she's
I did
taking him
like
to
how-
Sam's Club.
Go for it.
I did like how, Deanna was so upset. She wanted to get back in touch with her sister, with her cousin. She loves her cousin. They're like sisters. And Marlo was just kind of just unbothered by it all. She's just
I
like,
want my
she's
money.
like, yeah, I guess, whatever. I'll unblock her if I need to. I don't care. But
Yeah.
Deanna's over here like, I want my cousin back, like crying. I'm like, Marlo,
Order
just
her. They
not
were
here
like
for it.
sisters. They're like sisters.
It was really sweet though, because Deanna was like crying. She's like, "Can I ask for one more thing? Like, can you please order her to unblock me?"
Steve was like, I know what you're gonna ask me. Go ahead and ask it. I'll do it for you.
He loves it, but that's his favorite part. He's like, "All right, now hug." Like, this is like at the end of almost every court case. He's like, "Now kiss."
Mhm.
Everyone hug.
Look, that'd be great if you could sort of like, get your kids to stop fighting like this, that they had to listen to your verdict. So like, that's, they make it seem like as a parent, you're supposed to have this kind of power, Jason, but I find it
Yeah.
seldom works.
Definitely not. No, common sense and logic does not register with children.
Take your
But
kids to Steve Harvey. Like,
Steve
this
Harvey
is the solution.
he should charge a cameo type service. You pay a bunch of some money, and Steve will shoot a video for you telling your kids to get along.
Yeah, he does.
No hug.
Let's talk about Veronica and David. This was a gender reveal disaster, allegedly, where Veronica was planning a gender reveal party for her sister.
Her
For
older
Yeah, her
sister.
sister.
For her
or
older
husband.
sister.
And then
Yeah.
the defendant is the husband.
and David, and David is the father of the baby to have its gender revealed. And so Veronica is looking for $1,500 in damages. And then was David also countersuing for her ruining the gender reveal?
I don't know if there was a
David
I don't think he was
David's-
countersuing. He did say she
Okay.
was the one that messed it up, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we find out that David is kind of a DICK.
Not kind of. He
David did
definitely
no
is.
favors to himself this
No.
whole case.
Yes. So they're looking for a way to do the gender reveal at the park. Jason, David's initial idea was that he was looking to shoot.
He wanted to wildly shoot at a balloon that was either on the ground
At a
or going up in
park.
the air to wildly
At a
just
public park.
Yeah.
shoot his gun
Jenny,
off. Try to
I'm
hit the
so
balloon.
sorry that I know this is probably playing into your worst stereotypes of us Americans.
I was like, okay, first of all, every gender reveal party is a disaster. So like that's just a gender reveal party.
Yeah.
Like this is it's a conceptually a disaster. And I
More
feel like
bad than good.
I feel like there are often like there's like these viral videos of like where they do like the smoke
I know,
bomb thing
it's
and then like
that
someone's on fire.
You can just make a cupcake.
Yeah. You don't even have to do that. You
open
can
a
just
box with a balloon, and the balloon
say,
comes
"We're
out. You don't have to
having a
shoot at
baby."
it. You don't have to throw darts
the
at it.
balloon could a bird could eat the balloon.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. Well, Sir David wanted to
darts
shoot
standing by.
guns in the freaking park, and he said, "Okay, we're gonna have a balloon. There's gonna be colored confetti in it, but I want to shoot the balloon down." And then when he said this, I was like, "Did this woman get shot?"
Yeah.
And luckily, someone talked sense into David that you can't bring an illegal gun to the park.
Yes, or a legal gun. Really, you shouldn't be shot at the park.
No, shouldn't
yeah,
be, but like I assume that wherever they were from, it was illegal because I believe Steve Harvey said you wanted to bring an illegal gun to the park.
Yeah, and Dave was just kind of like, yeah, totally.
that was what we wanted to do.
Yeah. But Jenny, this was going poorly for Veronica to start because that Steve was getting frustrated that she wasn't talking enough.
Steve roasted this. He's like, I understood what he was saying, but like the way he patronized this woman was just like, okay, so we're in court and you're the plaintiff, and so you need to present a case, and so when you present a case, you need to have facts and information. So I'm gonna need you to do that for me right now, because she wasn't saying a lot.
She wasn't giving him anything. She couldn't remember anything about the case, any facts. She's like, okay, well,
she's nervous.
I'll have to slow this down for you a lot. Yeah, she was obviously very anxious and nervous to be on TV. So she couldn't remember anything she needed to say. Yeah.
All right. So they ultimately made a pivot from a gun to like darts, kind of like lawn darts. And I seem like that multiple people were throwing darts at the balloon.
Yeah, I think there were 4 because they had 2
squad.
kids. Yeah, they had 2 kids. And I think all 4 of them were trying to throw darts at the balloon to pop the balloon.
Yeah. And so the darts go towards the balloon, and we had some video footage of this. And
this thing was shot better than Survivor. There were like 1,000 camera angles to see every single
coverage. Yeah. And one of the darts, which was thrown by the defendant, David, happened to hit Veronica in the foot, but she was so excited about the gender reveal and it being a girl, Jenny, she had no response to being harpooned.
In the video, there is a blood-curdling scream followed by which was apparently in response to the news that it was a girl. Had nothing at this point. She did not even realize she had been impaled by a dart. And then the realization that she'd been hit in the foot with the dart is sticking out of her foot going, "Oh, my foot."
The shriek upon
was so loud.
The shriek upon finding out it was a girl was so much louder than the scream for realizing she had a dart in her leg. I just would have said, yeah, that shriek was definitely for me getting hit by the dart, not just because I found it was a girl. She didn't herself no favors there.
I know. She should have been like, no, I was screaming in pain. What a terrible experience. Give me my money. She's like, no, actually, I was just screaming about it being a girl. It's like, oh man, I was actually on Steve Harvey's side here when he was completely talking to you like an idiot, because I think you might be.
Yeah. So I had like a thunderstorm alert at this point in the show. And so I basically like lost the show for about 2 minutes here until we come back with the verdict. But apparently there was some incriminating evidence.
Yes. So, they had the video footage, which was great. And so one of the things that Steve got like stuck on was the fact that like, Veronica stood behind the balloon because she was trying to record their faces.
The ballistics.
She was like facing them so that she could get their facial reactions to finding out that it was a girl. And so,
they gave her so much crap for that, by the way, for
he was
standing
like, why
behind the
would
balloon.
you do that?
I didn't think he was going to throw the dart 50 feet to hit me in my foot. Like he gave her so much crap for that. I didn't really get like why he gave her so much guff for that.
Yeah, I think he just was like, this girl's dumb and I'm going to make sure she knows
Mhm.
it. So then they also, as part of this footage, had a photo of David pointing and laughing at Veronica upon the realization that she had a dart stuck in her foot. And there's like people like trying to care for Veronica, and it's literally like it is Nelson from The Simpsons. It
Yeah.
is like literally, yeah, that is exactly the sound that I
He's
heard.
a real psycho.
This guy hates his sister-in-law. You can tell he can't stand this woman. He was glad that she got this dart in the foot.
But for some reason, that is enough evidence for Judge Steve Harvey to convict what's his name, David, of actually throwing the dart that hit her.
Yeah. Well, thank God he didn't have the guns, Jason.
Oh yeah,
Someone would die.
Yeah.
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 So, and then the other thing that was really funny about this case was the explanation about how she went to urgent care, and that when she realized the dart was in her foot, and the kind of panic that ensued is that she chose not to pull it out of her foot because they watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy and she didn't want to bleed out. And Steve Harvey thought this was hilarious. He's like, okay, because of Grey's Anatomy.
I didn't want to bleed out from her foot.
Yeah. And then
this was
learned
smart.
so much.
Okay. So she's awarded $1,500 from David. No extra money for her. Yeah, that she didn't impress Steve enough to get any extra money for her troubles. All right.
Yeah, no.
She got the $1,500
She
back.
didn't do a great job. So
Yeah. All right. And then finally, this is a very wild one. The battle of former best friends, Samantha and Gina. Jenny, who was the bride? Samantha or Gina?
Samantha was the bride. Gina was the maid of honor.
All right. So Samantha was the bride and Gina was the world's worst maid of honor. And so they had been friends I mean, they looked very young, but they were 35 years that they were friends. And so Samantha was, were they friends from babies?
Well, I'm guessing they were maybe like early 40s or late 30s. So like maybe childhood friends.
Yeah, they showed a picture of them as children, and they were pretty young in that picture. So I think they've, for almost all their lives, probably.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And friends, I think friends is a loose term, even before the situation.
These were frenemies from this was like a growing closer and closer to enemy territory over time. This was a culmination of like decades long beef building, like marinating in the crock pot,
Oh my
Sorry
God.
to bring up crock pots, but
yes. Okay. So Samantha, that she's getting married and Jean's going to be the maid of honor, and Samantha is suing for, I'm sorry, I think Gina was suing Samantha for $3,000, and then they were countersuing each other.
So Samantha was suing for $3,000 for the cost of her wedding dress, which got ruined, which I was like, what's going on here? And then Gina was countersuing like $2,875. So basically, why didn't you just call $3,000?
$25 less for some reason.
Yes.
Yeah. For wedding planning and expenses. So basically,
it was like $2,000 for wedding planning, $500 for singing at the wedding.
She made a cake topper.
Yeah, the cake topper was $75, and there was like some other itemized.
But this was like a perfect example of like the character type of these two that they were giving us. It was like Samantha is like crazy and wild and like irresponsible, and like Gina is like the most type A, like like ruins everyone's fun, doesn't want to, you know what I mean? It's like so by the book. So of course Gina had the itemized breakdown of like what each thing costs, and she's like, I'm not going to round it up to $3,000.
Yeah,
that's not the cost.
And these two were throwing bombs at each other the whole case. It
was wild.
One of them compares their relationship to the movie Beaches, which I've never seen, but apparently Samantha is the Bette Midler one because she's fun, and Gina is the uptight one. And Gina says, well, at least I'm not goofy and bad looking. I was like, damn.
Yeah, Bette Midler taking a
drive-by for Bette Midler.
Yeah.
And then like Samantha's like, like I was married, I was marrying the love of my life, Jeff. And Gina goes, yeah, she's had a history of bad taste in men. She suckered this good guy. Like, she's just like completely dragging this woman through the coals. Like, she's just like, yeah, she didn't even deserve this guy she was marrying, but I'm her maid of honor.
Yeah. So Gina was the maid of honor, and she was responsible for picking out like the color theme of the wedding. And she picked out a lot of colors, which sounded like they were all like this. Like the theme was mauve, light
Dusty
pink,
rose.
and chartreuse.
Are you having your wedding on Easter or something? Like, what are we doing?
It was just like soft pinks and purple tones, which like it sounds like it would have been great for the gender reveal party, I guess. Like, I don't know. It was like, wasn't for me, but listen.
Yeah, the issue turned out to be that then Gina showed up with, if not a white dress, Jenny, eggshell, mother of pearl. Yeah.
Gina claims it was a very light pink, and to which Samantha goes, very light. Like, and to be fair, like in these pictures, which they weren't like wedding photographer quality photos. Like, they were definitely like from somebody's like Samsung Galaxy like 3 or something.
That was like a Samsung. That was like a sliver. Like we used to get like 2005.
Yeah, like they weren't great photos, so like they were a little overexposed. So I mean, the dress looks legitimately white in the pictures. Now, I love wedding drama. I am, I love watching the TikToks about like wedding drama. I'm in some Facebook groups where it's like wedding related drama. Like, I think it's very, very interesting. This is a common thing. Like, you don't show up to, this is just like a thing that everyone seems to agree upon. You don't show up to a wedding wearing white if the bride is wearing white. It's like, that is just one of the things. And a lot of people have different opinions about like other wedding customs, but this was one that I've noticed seems to be like pretty agreed upon by most people. It's like, you just don't do that. It's kind of a dick move. And to be fair, this dress was straight up like looked legitimately white. And I guess some of the drama came from the fact that like she was supposed to pick a color at the store with the other bridesmaids, and she just like left with nothing and then just showed up. No one knew that she was going to show up. It's not like
there was like some issue where they didn't have her dress or something at the store.
So she claims. To begin this, I was team Gina, and then as the case went on, I was like, Gina's very shady.
Yeah,
it's very shady.
Well, there were so many twists and turns. Then we found out that, okay, so then we got to like, well, how did Samantha's dress get ruined? So Samantha showed up the wedding and then saw Gina in the white dress and then got so upset that she pounded so much liquor. Jenny, has Samantha ever drank before? Was it her 21st birthday on the day of the wedding?
Here's the thing. It sounds like Samantha does a lot of drinking, and it sounds like this is something that Gina doesn't really love about her. Because there was also a comment. She's a true Samantha. There was a comment about like how, Gina also like ruined the bachelorette plans because the rest of them all wanted to go to to male strippers, and Gina wanted no part of that because it's like, Samantha always makes like a big scene, like she ruins everything.
Can't control herself.
I don't think that this is the first time she's
ceviche.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Gina was intimating that Samantha might take a stripper home and like there wouldn't be a wedding the next day.
Definitely.
Right. So, and I think that was a little bit of what was being insinuated, but I don't think this is like the first time that Samantha has ever spilled alcohol all over herself.
But
I don't think
that alcohol. I mean, that didn't even look like champagne.
Judge Steve Harvey said it was Jack Daniels.
Jenny, is it possible that Samantha got so drunk that then it's like, oh, we have to like this looks just like you peed yourself. We have to cover it with other things so that no one will know that you peed yourself.
Rub some dirt on it.
Cover it with more things that look like pee. How can we make this look more yellow? Because she said it was champagne, that she started pounding champagne as soon as they got to the reception.
Like, I started doing the. I started
Yeah,
drinking all the
literally-
champagne.
Jason, did she win the World Series that day?
Like, it was like an NBA Finals locker room in there or something. Everybody had to wear goggles. They could not get champagne in their face.
But if you had been in the locker room getting the champagne showers, like you would have like a nice even spray all over your dress. This literally looked like a skunk stripe.
It was
down
a stream
the
down
center.
down the dress. Yeah.
It literally looked like she took like a bottle of like, I don't know, something yellow, and just poured it down the front of her. It literally looked like a perfect stripe down the whole front of her dress.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how this happened. And I am
I
a
don't
very
know.
spilly person. Very, I am very clumsy and spill sometimes.
This got very sloppy.
This was next level. This woman had to. I also wonder, was she so pissed that this woman showed up in a white dress that she was like, I'm gonna make sure my dress isn't white anymore. She's
Maybe.
like purposely like pouring it on her.
So then there was another twist we found out about. This is like written by M. Night Shyamalan, this case, where he was the lawyer. So it turns out that Gina also then, Jason, got married the week before the guy that, and there was some talk about how, and then she just wore the wedding dress from her wedding to this wedding.
Well, I mean, Gina claims she didn't do that. Gina claims it's not her wedding dress. But yes, Gina got
Did anybody
married.
go to Gina's wedding?
Gina said she invited Samantha.
It sounds like she went, yeah.
Yeah, Gina was never engaged to her now husband. They just up and got married. And that's something that you also don't do at like a wedding or like a rehearsal dinner. You don't upstage the wedding you're at by being like, well, I just got married last week, or announce your engagement at somebody else's wedding. It really just seems like Gina was out to get Samantha's wedding at this point.
Oh.
Mhm.
I read these kinds of stories all the time. There's this like Facebook group that's called That's It, I'm Wedding Shaming. And it's just like all of these people sharing like things that happened at like other people's weddings, or like telling stories literally like this. Like these two are probably in this
Can we
group.
put that on the
Someone
wheel?
posted this.
Yeah.
So like, and it's always like, oh, well, we've been like best friends our entire life, like, but they hate each other. And so it's like, well, I'm getting married and like I am asking this person to be like my maid of honor, but like the beef is marinating, okay? And like
Talk about the crock pot.
the amount of times that weddings have destroyed relationships that weren't already like fractured. This was just a time bomb waiting to go off. And Gina just said, like, this is my time. Like, I'm just going to like light this shit up. Like, she just was like finding every possible opportunity to passive aggressively like shade her friend and upstage her at every point. And then they got like weirdly personal where they're like, oh, this is a thing where it's like she's always felt like she wants like that I'm upstaging her or anything. And then Gina says, yeah, well, you're just mad because your parents always loved me more.
Oh my God.
Like, wow.
This girl said her own parents didn't like her and liked her friend more. Like, what is wrong with these people?
He's hurling bombs at Steph, the witness. Is like, you're just jealous because I've always been liked more than you, Stephanie.
Right. Yeah. There was the way Stephanie, the witness. There was nobody liked her.
No.
I mean,
was like,
Stephanie,
all right,
the witness, she did not like the bowl of fish, the ceviche.
Yes, the
ceviche.
We were supposed to go to the strippers. You know what she gave us? A bowl of cold fish. I was like, what is happening?
Very literal description of the ceviche.
Yeah.
Okay. Steve was not impressed with these two. He basically,
like, you guys are nuts.
like he gave them nothing, right?
Yeah, he's like, well, it's not really her fault that she got sloppy drunk. I'm not giving you any money. I'm not giving either of you any money. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah,
that's it.
And he also shades Gina for making the cake topper. He's like, oh, I can't believe that there's people that actually do that.
I met the person who makes the cake topper.
Wow. He's
Yeah.
like, you get nothing.
They didn't even give these two like a post case, makeup, because they probably just started fighting in the lobby. Like, probably just came to blows. The episode just ended at that. It's like Steve leaves the courtroom and just ends.
A couple times there
no
was
hugs.
like backstage. It's like, oh, can I give you a hug?
I'm so glad we're friends again.
Yeah, we're back. So
no.
that's Judge Steve Harvey. We love it.
Incredible.
I'm gonna watch
It was
this every week.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It's
It's
so
got
fun.
a season pass on my DVR now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question is, all right, is this a hit or do we quit?
I would happily watch this again because I am dying to find out what other cases could be coming down the pipe. But I am also like, I know things that are in the horizon. Listen,
Yes.
there's no lie. Everyone's in the mentions showing us the shows that are coming out, and I
But
have
is
my
anything coming
eye
out
on
next
things.
week?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
So
Sam,
I'm
let
not
us know in the
opposed.
comments what's on the calendar for
Sam says
next
week
week.
is clear.
He says next week is clear, that we're still trying to track down people from jury duty.
Yeah.
So maybe should we get somebody from jury duty to watch Judge Steve Harvey?
Like it's basically like the same case.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah. Okay. All right. So either we'll do jury duty stuff or we'll watch more Judge Steve Harvey, or maybe look, the way the writer's strike is going, maybe there'll be a new show that'll pop up for. So
like
I know we're
tomorrow,
supposed to
like-
make a decision, but I mean, I feel like that this is a hit, but I feel like if something knocks it out.
I think that, Rob, this is our show and we can decide whatever we can decide the
Okay.
rules. And I think
All
we
right.
can say this is a hit with an asterisk.
Yeah.
It's a hit until proven otherwise.
Until proven otherwise. So somebody
Until
can
I say you
something
give
else-
Judge,
out.
I say you give Judge Steve Harvey its own feed and just continue to do it the
Keep
whole
going.
season.
Yeah.
Keep going. Okay.
I don't
All
like
right.
it.
And then I know Stars on Mars is coming up. So we got
It's
we got a lot.
literally
Yeah.
it's
June is going to be loaded. Me and Jenny have to go daily in June.
yeah, I'm gonna have to quit my other job actually.
Quit your other
so-
job.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
All right. We got too much hit or quit to do. All right. Jason, what's coming up for you?
You can find me on the Rob Has a Podcast or RHAPups Network, covering the show Married at First Sight on our podcast, A Perfect Match. I do that with Asia Welch. You can also check me out on Poster Recaps doing a couple things. We just wrapped up the show The Power. I did that with Sasha Joseph. So if you watch that show, check out our coverage of that. Currently, I'm also covering The Citadel with Marissa Garza over on Poster Recaps, so check that out as well. That's it
Okay.
for me.
Well, Jason, thank you so much. This was so fun to go through everything here for Judge Steve Harvey.
Listen, I had a blast. In my RHAP career, I've covered a lot of weird things.
Yes.
And this is, when I first got the call, I was like, really? Judge Steve Harvey? But I mean, I don't regret it at all. I loved it. I was
Well,
enamored.
here's the thing, Jason, is like before Hit or Quit even had a name, you were a trooper and joined us for Beyond the Edge coverage. And
Yes.
I've been here with you guys for a lot of your
Beyond
shows.
the Edge, only show that didn't get a renewal.
yeah, we haven't.
Listen, I stuck it out with you
nothing
guys on Special Forces the whole season, and I couldn't do Farm Wants a Wife. I watched episode 1. I
Listen.
was like, yeah, I'm gonna quit this before they quit it themselves.
I'm
Mhm.
just glad that we were able to do something that we all had a great time with. So it all worked out. So yeah, it was good to have you back because if you survived Beyond the Edge,
I
you
can
deserve.
take anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Jenny, what's coming up for you?
Just living life. I will actually be on the RHAP B&B this coming weekend for the are we on the penultimate episode of Survivor right now? So
Yeah.
what's tonight? The
Yeah,
finale's next week?
Yeah, the finale is going to be Wednesday.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Phil T and I, if I don't know when this podcast is coming out, but
It's coming out, I believe, Friday.
okay, so coming very soon will be the
Yeah, look
B&B.
for
I'm
it this
very
weekend.
excited to play some games with Mike and Liana. So check me out on that. And other than that, you can follow me on social media at Jenny Autumn, and maybe more Steve Harvey coming down the pipe.
I hope so. All right. We had so much fun talking about Judge Steve Harvey. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.